Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud.
And David Lauer. Or just David. You don't have to separate the two.
Rob Van Dam.
I know. I wish I had three names. Instead, I have to break it up by syllables, and then it ends up David Lauer. And then
That's what I did.
Doesn't work.
We're here to talk. Shit. Oh my god, we're so off already.
No, we are.
I'm Vincent Cloud.
I'm David Lauer.
Did we already say that? Yeah, we already did that. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I might be out of it. I don't know.
That intro was perfect, and then we did this.
Yeah.
This is edited out.
Oh, the tables have turned. Now I'm the one that's fucking up the podcast when you're like, Vince, get your shit together. We got a show to do.
Give you an earpiece. I'll speak into your ear off camera.
Then it'd be like, good line, Dave, but can I edit? No, man. This is the Duel 1, Episode 7 review. Now, I already hear the bitching where people are like, hold on, the internet tells me this is Episode 8, and you guys are saying this is Episode 7? What gives? Well, the thing is, when we watch the first episode, it has 2 missions, 2 challenge days in the premiere. So to me, it made sense, like, that's Episode 1. But online, they're like, the second episode to watch is called Episode 3 because it is the third challenge, the third mission that happened during the season, thus throwing it all off. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, basically their pilot episode was like, hey, we're doing 2 at once. So they called it 1 episode, but it was really 2.
That's how it premiered. It wasn't like an odd cut, because Episode 1, it would end pretty shittily. Because Johnny Bananas, he's out like that on a guessing game. I just assume people are going to bitch about this. Like, hey, this is confusing. Episode 7, Episode 8, what the fuck? But I'm just like, okay, well, just get over it, okay? That's all I'm trying to... I'm doing a preemptive thing, man.
Isn't there some kind of debate with Star Trek over the technical number of episodes that aired? Where there was like a 2-part episode, and then people debate like, oh no, there's this many episodes of Star Trek episodes. And like, oh no, you're forgetting the unaired version.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, I mean, it's almost like that.
Yeah, I get you.
But in a lot less nerdier fashion.
But you know what? I wouldn't mind being at that con. If there was a challenge con, a bunch of people dressing up like CT, some guys dressing up like Johnny Bananas here and there and shit. One dressed up like Svetlana.
Oh my gosh, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
And then you would have like a Coral or something. She'd be like in a booth all by herself, charging like $45 for pictures. And we're like, no, you never really did anything. We're sorry.
Dave. Okay, Dave. First of all you know from Coral is from a show that you and I recorded back in the day.
I know, and I base all of my judgments off of that small 1/1000th of a percent of information.
And that percentage puts you in the 1% in terms of Coral fandom. People love Coral.
Really?
Oh yeah. Just get over it. There would be plenty of lines at Coral's booth. And she'd be charging plenty of money. And you know what? I would be in that line. I'm sorry, Dave. This is because it's America's 5th sport. You ever hear that?
Like the top sports, you got basketball, baseball, football.
What's the?
And then, I mean, there's
hockey.
There's hockey and golf and NASCAR for rednecks.
I mean, this was coined from what's his name? From the BS report.
Bill Simmons.
Yep, Bill Simmons. He really helped the challenge get on the map just by saying the challenge is like America's 5th sport and whatever.
It really should be, because golf is boring as fuck. Let's admit it.
Yeah.
Hockey, it's too Canadian. I'm sorry.
It's too Canadian.
If there was more black guys on the ice, it would be a lot faster and more athletic. I would probably get into it more.
But they would be shooting those pucks sideways.
I know.
Yeah.
It would be great.
It would be the knuckle puck every time. The knuckle puck.
I have not seen that movie since I was probably 11 or 12, but I will never forget the name of the knuckle puck. Like, turns the puck on its side. Child sports. Oh, no technique.
Emilio.
I honestly thought Emilio Estevez was like the biggest badass ever. And I thought he was super cool. And I'm like, wow, I can't wait to watch more of his movies. Little did I know, there were no movies. Never.
Yeah, I mean, after that, not really. He had a few things, a few stakes to his name. Young Guns,
Yup.
Mighty Ducks.
He was great in Young Guns.
Oh, but then he had The Outsiders.
Yeah, there was Outsiders. Once the Ducks happened, it was just over.
It really was. But you know what? He made bank, but little did he know. He was like, no, this is your pension.
Yeah, they gave him a gold watch. Sorry for thank you for your service, but hit the bricks, son.
Let's talk about pension here because someone who I, like Emilio Estevez, greatly admired, they got the pink slip. They were let go this episode, and I don't know if I really like it. I don't enjoy how she was eliminated and why she was eliminated. To me, this whole thing fell apart. Svetlana was part of Beth's alliance, was she not?
Not according to her.
Not
She
according to
says
her.
no.
Yeah.
But based off of previous actions, I thought she was.
Based off of this one argument, it seems like, which, okay, a lot of people are going to be like, well, this is Beth's MO. This is what she does. She sits down and just drops a little, it's not even a bomb, it's not a grenade, attack on someone's seat.
She throws little thumbtacks down and just hopes that someone steps on it.
Yeah.
Just piss them off. And some people, they see them and they walk around them and be like, Beth, quit doing your thing.
This little dropping of the thumbtacks happens to Brad and Evan. I think they're just chilling there. They're just talking. And Beth comes in and she's like, and I think she comes in with Svetlana or something like that.
I think it was Beth came in alone and then Svetlana walks in on the conversation.
Right. So Beth is like, oh, hey, I hear you said that I was going for Robin. And she's talking to Brad. And Brad's already, he's like, what? What are you talking about? Where is this coming from?
He was immediately put off. Beth comes up. He's like, okay, now you're just talking stuff, trying to stir the pot again. And he immediately knew it.
Yeah.
I mean, he was not happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's another veteran, and he's been on 2 challenges with Beth. It was basically about Beth said, I heard you saying I was going for Robin, and I'm trying to say that's not true, and Brad's already trying to extinguish whatever flame she's trying to start. He's like, nope, just stop it, And then Svetlana comes in, and she's like, no, it's true, you said that or some shit, because Svetlana went to Beth and said, hey, I overheard Brad say that Robin wanted to call you out, Beth, or vice versa. So it was all a bunch of hearsay. It was all, where does the blame lie? Is it Svetlana for going to Beth and saying Brad was talking shit about you and Robin? Or was it Beth who was tapped on the shoulder? I think Brad's saying that you're going to go for Robin. And then Beth going into Beth mode. Like, who's at fault here?
I mean, people will talk and say certain stuff like that, like, oh, I heard someone said this and this. But you need to let it go and be like, whatever, that's not something to dwell on or bring up and just make it become a big thing. Because I feel like there's so much talking behind people's back and saying different things about different players. Where Svetlana comes in and she like, oh yeah, you said this and this. And Brad's immediate reaction was, stop starting drama. And she's like, I'm not starting drama. And he's like, no, you are. You're bringing up what someone said and you're throwing it at me. And it's like, I don't even want to talk about this because that's just it's the snowball effect. And the 2 girls there just seem to try to make the snowball roll down the hill.
So you think that Svetlana was also starting something?
She was. I mean, even if she wasn't intentionally doing it, she was doing it. And it's not to say that they didn't say something previously. They very likely could have said that stuff. But you just need to let it go and move on from it. Don't keep bringing it up like they always do.
Hold on.
So, I mean, I was just like Evan and Brad, where I was super annoyed. And I'm like, they need to stop doing this.
Turn my fan off. Oh, wow. I was like, that's gonna come up on the recording. I knew it, and it was like a splinter in my mind.
I didn't even think of that.
That's all I think about. Noise. I'm like, I curse in my mind every time a car passes. Really?
Really?
No. But I try to block those out.
You need to listen to Joe Rogan's podcast when there's sirens going behind.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he moved to a different place with insulated walls afterwards.
Oh, okay,
But he has the
yeah.
coin for that kind of pull.
What were we talking about? Okay, so well, basically, this episode starts off with this argument. We actually cut to it in the middle of the entire thing. They're just already arguing, and we're kind of just catching up by Beth saying, "Oh, this is what I said," and then we get Svetlana's point of view, then Brad's, and then Evan, who's just like always on point. He's like, Beth is trying to start shit. Svetlana is, you know what I mean? Like, Evan's really keen on the challenge scenario, which is probably the best part about Evan. He was cast, and he was the first genuine fan of the challenge. I always felt that way. Like where Evan was like, I watched Theo in The Miz. I want to be big like The Miz and shit like that, and that's what he did. You know, I mean,
Yeah, he said his prayers, ate his vitamins or steroids, and
absolutely.
then and then made it on there. And anytime Evan talks, like I almost always agree with what he's saying, and I'm like, yep, that sounds right. Yep. I'm
Yeah,
like, that's exactly how I see it too.
yeah. Because he's studied the challenges as well. He actually had his own podcast for a while. Well, not his own No, he does have his own podcast, but it's not about the challenges. I think it's just a podcast. But he would guest star on Challenge Podcast with Derek a lot.
Really?
Yeah. They're no longer around anymore.
So was his podcast? He had his own podcast, or he would just go on others' podcasts?
No, I heard that he has his own podcast or had his own podcast. I'm
I
not
wonder
sure.
what it was about. Was it about the challenge, or was he talking about like current events?
That would either way would be interesting. I mean, the guy seems to know what he's talking about.
He
right?
does seem intelligent.
Put the guy in Kuwait. Put the guy in Rwanda. I'm pretty sure he would cover
Put
everything.
him on the scene.
Yeah. Or put him in a fucking tornado or something.
Yeah, there ain't no twister that's gonna lift him off the ground. He's a brick shithouse.
He'll just grab a tree.
Yeah.
He'll be perfectly fine. He's like, is this part of the challenge? TJ. Anyways, this huge argument that's going on at the beginning of the episode in this little room, it involves Svetlana. She's getting really upset. In fact, she calls her boyfriend on the phone afterwards. She's like, I just don't like it here anymore. Like this is it or some shit, right?
She was upset, and there was all this drama happening, and it was like, well, you walked into a conversation and started to throw your 2 cents into it.
Because Brad
she could have
turned
just
on
walked
Svetlana.
on by.
Yeah, Brad turned on Svetlana too. He was like, no, like you shouldn't be involved in this. That's what it was. That was the big thing. She was very upset, not only because Brad was getting mad at her, but she was like, you know what? People are thinking that Beth and I have some sort of alliance, which we don't. As soon as she said that, I was like, wait a minute. I thought you did. Did you not? Wasn't there this whole episode where like Beth and Anissa bring you into a corner and you shake their hands and then you won with the flag, the magic flag, remember that? Then help save your alliance and all of a sudden that's over with? Like it's just done?
She basically was with Beth in that alliance, and then off screen, off camera, she kind of decided, well, I'm not totally committed to this because all of a sudden this alliance doesn't look to be that strong because last episode, who got eliminated? Nehemiah. And then suddenly it's like, well, maybe this isn't where I want to be aligned. And then it's like, no, we're not. I'm not with Beth. No. It's like, is she kind of backtracking on it? Or saying that she wasn't totally committed?
I mean, if I was Svetlana, I would be like, hey, remember when I was basically considered just Key West, just stamped on my forehead, and everyone else was considered Key West was eliminated one by one? And so it's just like that's why she made that deal with Beth is because all of Key West was being eliminated. So now she's gonna turn around just because she had this argument with because Brad raised his voice. She's gonna start saying like, no, Beth, like I have nothing to do with Beth. That's basically what she's doing right now. Because to her, maybe she's just like, hey, I don't like drama. I do not like drama. I don't mind going into elimination. I just fucking hate this shit. So maybe that's
maybe her point of view is she walked by and she's like, this is drama going on. I'm trying to squash it. But at the same time, Brad is sitting on his bed and Evan's sitting on his bed. And then Beth came in and started drama. And he's pissed off because he's like, I'm just trying to sit here and have a relaxful night. Beth brings in drama. And then Svetlana ends up seeing it and trying to stop it, but then cause more. and it was just a fire that was fueling itself.
Yeah, and when she was on that phone with her boyfriend, A, I was very scared because I'm just like, holy crap, she's not gonna give up and leave. And B, oh my gosh, she has a boyfriend? Fuck.
I know, exactly.
It's just like, no.
I was hoping that like years later she's still gonna be like single and alone, and be like, oh, and I'll be like, oh, I'm Dave. Hi. Yeah.
All right. So, anyways, that argument happened, right? Holy shit,
Yeah.
we've been talking about 20 minutes about it.
I know, the episode was 20 minutes. Moving on. That's what we do.
All right, hold on. Nice cover, man. All right, this mission today is called Rafty Race. Silly little race, confusing as well.
Very confusing, but seemed cool as shit.
Yeah, to cover though, it was pretty confusing. But to watch, you said like I was mostly just my nose in a notebook, scribbling down notes,
Who's getting eliminated in one
listening
order.
to the challenge. Basically, that's what I was doing. You actually got to watch it, and you said it was confusing.
Yeah, because it was a very big complex challenge that they were doing, and you had all those different points. Were right at the beginning. Okay, first you're running with flippers on, and then you got to get the tag off the pump, and then you have to do the air pump to pump up the raft, and then you have to get the oars, and like at each point, people are getting eliminated because there's only so many air pumps.
So there was always going to be
like Wes
people
was
eliminated.
immediately gone because he didn't get there. And then and at each point you'd lose people, but they condensed it down into such a form where it was you couldn't really see much of why people were getting eliminated. You would just see them get eliminated. There were certain people where you're like, okay, yeah, they didn't fill up the raft, so that's why they got eliminated and stuff like that. But as a whole, it was hard to cover because you could not tell what was going on.
So let's go in this. You'll be my eyes for the challenge, and I'll be your ears.
In my brain.
And yeah, I'll be your brain.
And the voice of reason.
Move the arms. Move the arms.
I'll be the puppet, you'll be the master. Oh god, that sounds weird. No, we'll just stick with what we originally said.
Call me Godfather. That was my best Marlon Brando I've ever done.
That was really good.
The first station, there's pumps. Yeah, I believe that's all it was. You just grab the pumps, then move on to the next station. So the first.
But there was the tag on the pumps, which
that comes later.
Okay.
Yep. No jumping ahead.
But you said about the next. We're like next the tag.
No jumping ahead. I have the machete. I go first.
All right. I'm back into puppet mode.
This station, 2 guys are going to get eliminated and 3 girls are going to get eliminated. That's bewildering, especially since it's a female duel day. I just wanted to throw that in there real quick.
Well, they only make 75 cents on the dollar, so I mean, it only makes sense.
Oh, sexist jokes.
There's three women equal 2 men. I mean, it makes sense. Come on.
All right, let's see what these 3 women equal to. The first 3 women, Svetlana and Nisa. That is 2 strikes to the Beth Alliance. Am I wrong?
Exactly.
Am I wrong? Okay, then next, the leader of that alliance gets one over the other alliance, the Drama Mafia. Kina. She takes Kina's tag. Oh my god. No, I guess that was all part of it. I'm sorry. I guess the tag was part of it because I wrote it down. So let's explain the tag thing real quick.
Yeah, you wanted to gloss over it.
I thought it was. Dude, I'm sorry. It was.
You
confusing.
said they want to get the air pumps. I'm like, no, they want to get.
Look,
the tag.
I don't even know what. I didn't even write what was at station 3. See, yeah, see, this is my script.
Oh man,
I want you to look at my script.
This? Okay.
Can you gather any information from that?
Knees, Bigfoot, pulse day.
Bigfoot, Big Easy.
Derek.
See, that is my so-called script, as you like to say. So, listeners, I just handed Dave my notes.
Like, you've watched It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. You know, like when Charlie is writing a campaign speech.
Yeah, well, I'm not giving this to some candidate.
I'm just saying, it doesn't seem like it came from the public school system.
Because of my notes. I'll be able to inform and educate. Okay, well then, how would you explain this? Do you remember who Beth took the tag from?
No, I don't remember who it was.
It was
okay. Well, see, that's what you were writing while I was watching. Why? That's we're 2 pieces to a puzzle, and we put together.
So you watched it happen, but you just didn't know the name.
Well, I saw was her taking the tag and be like, no, Boo Boo, I got your tag. And
Keena,
then
yeah.
Keena was like all upset. And
Oh, yeah.
Keena, honestly, I'm just staring at her weird 1993 hairdo the whole time. So I kind of forget what her name is. The point of it was you needed to grab the tag, which gave you property and ownership over that pump. So people were grabbing the pump and starting to pump up their raft. And then Beth was like, well, I'm gonna grab this tag because they should have grabbed the tag, shoved it in their shorts or their pocket or something, and then pump it up. She
That's
didn't do it.
right. Okay, so I'll explain it just a little bit more clearly. So Station 1 and Station 2 are almost the same. The only difference was there was only so many pumps on the first station, and then you would actually drag the pump to the second station. That's when you started to actually pump it up. So in Station 1, Wes didn't have a pump to grab, so he's eliminated. He has done nothing for the Beth Alliance. Big Easy comes up, sees that Derek is pumping, but he's got that tag still on it.
Yeah.
Rips it off. Good for Big Easy, right? Using your mind. What have I said about Derek before? He's good physical player, but like he's never using this. Yeah. And I'm pointing to my head right now. Anyways, Big Easy, he gets it over Derek, man. Takes his tags. Derek's eliminated. So out is Wes, Derek, Svetlana, Anissa, and Keena. And Keena is just like, oh, it really hurt because Beth is just being so snotty about it. It's like, waves it in her face and shit.
But TJ's, yeah, but she should have because TJ said you gotta grab the tag off it.
Yeah, it's true.
But I'm excited they did a more complex, cool mission. Even though they weren't able to get it all, like, enough screen time that it needed, it was still very exciting. Because when he's describing all the rules, I'm like, fuck, this is awesome. You gotta go here and here. And everyone's getting eliminated at different points. You're gonna get slowly whittled down.
And I suppose we should probably explain what the entire race is. Basically, you grab a pump, you pump up your boat,
and then you got to kind of paddle with your hands out to this
buoy,
buoy that has oars stuck in it, and there's only a limited number there. Yeah. And once you get those, you got to. It's the first two people back to land to get to that treasure chest where you grab the flag and then run across the finish line.
Yes, there we go. So now we have a lot more clarity. Diem is eliminated. So is Brad. So is Evan.
Well, no, that was the order of people getting eliminated. Oh. But, I mean, they pumped up their raft and they got out into the water. And they were, like, Evan, like, he's so freaking beefy and, like, he probably weighs, like, 250 pounds of solid muscle. So, like, he was weighing that thing down and it was taking on water like the Titanic. That little raft he did not pump it up with enough air. He needed to pump it up a lot because of how much he weighs. So he ended up sinking eventually and then towards the end of it, like, you see him kind of just swimming with no raft. It was at the bottom of the water. Because a lot of them, they were rushing to get out there. But if you don't inflate your boat enough, it's not going to stay above the water.
I'm sure Brad got eliminated because he just didn't get to the oars in time. There wasn't enough oars for him. Finally, Robin is eliminated from the oars, it would seem. My notes are all totally fucked.
Well, she just got there last. It was a lot of it was just certain people got to the oars first. Well, Beth got there because she was watching people take off and struggle and slowly getting to the oars. Oh, so she stood there and just pumped the shit out of it.
Again, I mean, she's good at pumping. Exactly. She said this.
She's good at pumping and she's filled with a lot of hot air.
The whole time, these women have their kind of half-inflated boats and they're trying to get there and they're failing. So Beth has the wherewithal where she's like, no, and the foresight. She's like, no, this is what I got to do. So she's doing this in the entire time, right? Meanwhile, we get to the guys. It's down to CT and Big Easy. This is surprising. But Big Easy's actually been in the lead the majority of the time. I don't know if it's because Derek pumped up his thing so much and then Big Easy took the tag, thus giving him an advantage, whereas like I barely had to pump this thing because Derek was doing all this work. You know what I mean?
Oh, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Big Easy has been kind of in the lead. Now, finally, it's just...
And he weighs just as much as Evan, but his boat was actually inflated very well, so it probably was because of some of Derek's work.
So now it really is just a paddle race to the beach, to the chest, and then ultimately across the finish line between CT and Big Easy. But it's no surprise. CT, he comes out of the water quicker. He's just like, Big Easy's not necessarily running or, putting on the speed. It's just CT passes him up ultimately.
And when you're in those rafts, if you weigh more, the bottom of the raft is going to sink down more. That's more drag and resistance on the water. Your boat's going to be going slower. And Eric, he was at a disadvantage for this.
It comes down to the last two girls. It's Beth and Jody. Now Beth really needs this. Obviously, she's even admitting to herself. She's like, not only do I have to win this for me and my alliance, but I also have to win this because Brad is mad at me and Svetlana is mad at me. Like, what the fuck? This is horrible. This is a bad day. So it's her against Jody, a Drama Mafia member. But Jody ultimately wins it. Good for her. But then Jody starts talking shit. She's like, Beth's boat was completely inflated and I beat her. I beat her. What the fuck? What's up with that? I'm like, come on, just stop,
Yeah.
And
I think Jody was surprised that she was able to beat Beth.
Yeah.
And I'm not. You couldn't really tell what really happened other than like Beth was kind of slow even once you got her oar. Like she was super fast when she was paddling with her hands, but for whatever reason she was kind of slow when it came. I mean, I'm sure Jody had enough of a head start when she got her oar that it was enough to keep that same distance the rest of the way.
All right, so Jody won. CT won, and he got a surfboard. This is his second win this season. That's something. Jody, this is her third.
Yeah, she's always good in these.
Now it's deliberation time.
Yeah, so Beth got second. So she's second is basically the same as getting last.
So Jody, she starts off deliberation. She chooses CT just because he won. CT chooses DM. DM chooses Evan. This is all according to plan. There's nothing new about this, correct? Like we've seen these people vote for each other countless times. Evan, Robin, Derek, Keena. Then we get to Brad. Now Brad says Robin told me to choose Beth to save Beth because Robin's like, no, listen, Beth is she's a spiteful bitch. She's gonna go after either me or Keena or DM or the other one, Jody. She's gonna go against one of us. So make sure that Beth is never in the position of choosing her opponent.
Exactly. It makes sense because you don't want her being able to pick out like, hey, I'm gonna take out Jody or I'm gonna take out someone who's really top female. They want whoever's left last to choose Beth.
Beth has to choose either Big Easy or West to make the decision between Anissa and Svetlana. This is the alliance in the balance. Beth chooses Big Easy. She doesn't want West to choose between her own alliance. That's kind. That's considerate.
Yeah.
So West.
So that way West doesn't have to make any enemies.
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is that Wes walks off. He's like, okay, good. I don't have to choose between friends in our alliance. Turns out there was no need for this because of what Svetlana is about to do.
Because there never was an alliance according to Svetlana.
According to her, yeah. Big Easy, she chooses Anissa, so now Svetlana's there at the end. She even fucking throws her middle finger up at, was it Big Easy? Was it at who? But she's the last person picked. And she's weighing this in her mind. She's like, either I go against Beth, who I don't want here anymore. She's causing too much trouble for me. She's also bringing me into a target zone with her because I'm guilty by association, basically. Or do I go against Robin, who I want to take away Brad's boat? She's very mad at Brad. Svetlana, she's very mad because Brad yelled at her that night because of all this confusion brought on by Beth. So Svetlana is basically like, do I go against the person who caused all this drama, or do I go against someone who had nothing to do with it in spite of Brad? So Svetlana, she's out for blood either way.
She's like, hey, I chose to kind of join up with Beth in this alliance, but once I did, she's like, oh shit, now I'm working for the devil. And it's like, no, I need to not, like, oh, fuck this. She's just, she really ended up regretting it, and now that she has this choice, it's just like, okay, I'm just going to go against Beth, so that way I can prove that I'm not with her anymore, and hopefully get rid of her. She knows that even if she's Beth's friend, she's still Beth's enemy, because that's how Beth uses people.
I guess the only reason why Svetlana didn't feel like we officially had that handshake is because she never gained anything from the alliance. She won that episode with the missing flag, and that she saved Beth's alliance. They never once gave her anything. So maybe that's why she never felt fully in that alliance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
I didn't think of that. That's kind of true.
So she calls out Beth, Everyone's just like, oh shit.
Well, Svetlana did say when she was calling up her boyfriend that she's like, I hate all this drama. I just want to go home. Well, if you're choosing to go against Beth, that's a pretty tough opponent. So yeah, you're either gonna have some glory or you're gonna go home.
She made this really weird, awkward speech right before she chose the person. She's like, if I choose this person, if I go out to them, I don't want to feel like everyone else will under her reign or some shit.
I remember saying something, but I didn't really click when she said it, so I'd have to rewatch it.
I was like, what are you talking about? And then finally she just chooses Beth. When I heard this, I was like, oh, what the fuck? Svetlana gets to choose the duel card, and it's new. It's called Push Me. We've never seen this before.
Yeah, I had no idea what it was.
TJ says, you guys are going to push against this pole, and
then grab the flag. You're going to unhook the flag. If the flag is attached to the carabiner, you have to unhook the carabiner to get the flag.
There's a Seiko watch for the winner. We've seen
but more importantly, you get to stay.
Brad is sitting there, and he's watching. He's about to watch the duel. And he's like, I hope that Svetlana wins. Because once my head cleared a little bit, I realized that Beth was just using Svetlana to attack me. Brad is like, Beth is so fucked up that she'll get Svetlana angry just to get mad at me so she doesn't have to. Like, they're all building Beth up in their minds, and perhaps it's in reality. Beth is the ultimate evil, you know? And so finally she's in this duel. And you have to push each other to get to the flag. You have to unhook the carabiner. You can't rip the flag off. And it starts, and they're at about 10 minutes. Svetlana's like cursing, and like Wes is saying like she's trying to be all Russian gangster, like spitting and cursing like a sailor, saying, Beth, give up. You know you're not going to win and shit like that, you know? And Beth, the entire time, what is she doing? Tapping her fingers on the pole. She's waiting for her to tire out.
Yep, she had her position. She was pushing against it hard where she knew it wasn't going to move backwards. And she's like, I'm just going to wait until she tires out. When you have like a long pole that's on a pivot point in the middle, just with physics, the closer you are to the edge, you want to go as far away from the center as possible when you push because you're getting more leverage that way. You don't want to choke up and be like a foot or two in, but they were both about a foot or 2 feet in pushing on it. And I thought it was kind of a mistake on both sides because they ended up going to like 30-minute mark.
Yep, 30 minutes, exactly.
And it was like, wow, I feel like Beth could have finished her off a lot sooner.
They get to 30 minutes, and then finally, Svetlana, she kind of gives up. Beth pushes on the log, she gets to the flag, and she's grabbing at the flag. Svetlana, she collapsed already. She gets up on the floor, and she's like, oh yeah, and she puts herself on the log, and she starts pushing it a little bit, just trying to push back Beth a little bit, just unsturdy the log. And Beth, she's still trying to fiddle with the carabiner, and all that pushing, she ends up just tearing the whole thing off. And Svetlana collapses. She's crying.
Like, I saw her just like completely just emotional wreck. She just completely physically spent. Now she knows she's going home and she's just sitting on there in the stand crying her eyes out. Like, it's a brutal challenge. And I mean, for a half hour to be struggling physically like that.
At that moment, did you know, like, oh, Beth was DQ'd, Svetlana, you won? Or were you like, oh, Svetlana, you're gone?
I didn't realize Beth was DQ'd at all. It was, I felt so freaking bad.
Really? So you wanted Beth out compared to Svetlana?
No, I just felt bad for Svetlana because she had really pushed herself as hard as she could, and she came up short. Because that's what you want to see, is someone just give their all. And if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. But to put in that kind of effort like she did, it was so admirable. She gave it her all, and she ended up going a little bit short. But who the fuck knew that Beth was going to be DQ'd? She didn't unhook the carabiner. Yeah. She ended up pulling on the flag, pulled it right off.
One of those times that Svetlana was jerking the log.
Yeah.
Brad's the guy to come up. He was probably the only guy who actually listened to the rules. He's like, wait, no, technically, you know? So he just runs to Svetlana immediately and picks her up. He's like, you won. What are you crying for? Slap, slap. You know, like, just, you don't hold yourself.
And I was like, I heard it on screen, and I'm like, what the fuck? No way. I'm like, she won? Really? I thought it was bullshit at first, and I was like, oh shit.
It was just bizarre, because you're just like, wait a minute. Oh. So then all your focus then returns back to Beth, and you're like, so you're leaving.
Yeah.
She's staying. I really thought that Svetlana was going home, and I was like, of course Beth would win this. You know, that's how everyone felt. But it was a DQ, and Beth is like, It was bullshit. It was a bullshit DQ. Everyone saw that I clearly dominated that thing.
TJ said right in the rules, it's the same thing with the tag and the pump. Beth listened to the rules and she grabbed that tag to get the pump. And then, she came up short. And now she hears the rules, grab the carabiner and unhook the carabiner. Don't rip the flag off of the carabiner because that doesn't work. You need the carabiner with it. She can't have it both ways. She deserved to go home. And it sucks because I'm going to miss her.
Yeah.
Because she added a lot to it just from the drama portion. Like her abrasive personality and her loving to throw fuel on the fire in every social situation. While it's annoying as piss, it does make for good television. I feel like this is going to be a turning point in the season. Now that Beth is gone, is it just going to be like the rest of her alliance is just going to get knocked off? And like Wes and Nisa, those people are just going to get whittled off and the drama mafia moves on?
This is like the Lannisters killing Ned Stark. Where you're just like, holy shit, I thought he was the head of the Starks and he's dead. And
he's the lead character. Now that she's gone, she was the main person causing conflict. Now that that's gone, people are still going to end up conflicting. That's just how it works. So after an episode or two, then it's just going to be infighting.
The war doesn't end after the villain dies. I mean, look at Lord of the Rings. When Sauron fell, the book kept going on. I don't know if people knew this. Even the movie kept going on for another half an hour. So Beth was a tyrant, apparently, but that doesn't mean her army's gone. They're going to go after Wes. They're going to go after Anissa.
They're going to go back to the Shire, and then they're going to go back to the shore, and then sail away on a boat. And they're all going to jump around on a bed with Frodo.
Yeah. Just remember to like this. If you like it, remember to subscribe for all the notifications. Get a notification every single time we drop a podcast off. We do this weekly, by the way. I am Vincent Cloud.
I'm David Lauer.